Why are you waiting until the end of the job interview to ask questions? And why are you asking the question, how do you like working here? Okay, you are blending in to everyone else and you just seem like the rest of the crowd. So let's fix that, shall we? I'll give you 3 foolproof formulas for asking better questions in a job interview that will instantly elevate you in the interviewer's eyes. I mean, they're going to be looking up at you like you're Shaquille O'Neal. And stay to the end because I will show you the easiest way to make an interview into a conversation. Because I wish I could say this in every language. Interviewers really care about questions you ask. They sometimes focus on it more than your answers to their question. It's wild, Thornberry. And so you are going to ask questions in the interview. Promise me that. Some questions may come up naturally, but it is also very good to prepare them ahead of time so that the pressure of the moment doesn't get to you. Because gone are the days that you can ask, what's the culture like? Or how do you like working here? And have the interviewer think that those are thoughtful questions. That is what everyone is asking. And it's clear that you watched some goofy YouTube video of some guru telling you that you need to ask questions in the interview.
Hey everyone, the self-made millennial.
And it just feels like a waste of everyone's time. I'm trying to level you up from your competition because they're catching on. Okay, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to give you a list of questions to ask in an interview. I'll link it below. They are good questions, but what you're going to learn to do in this video is how to make them great. Strategy 1, personalize each question. A personalized twist on a question can go from a generic question from a list that this underprepared person memorized to thoughtful and strategic question asked by a true job shopper. Here is how you ask the best questions in the job interview by using question layering. Add 1 or more of 3 layers to your core question. That can include 1, your research, something you learned before the interview. 2, your experience. So referencing something you've experienced in the past and relating it to this role and company. And 3, context from your interviews, something that came up in this interview or previous interviews. Here is what this looks like in action. If the basic question you want to ask is, how do you like working here? The impressive version is, I saw on LinkedIn you've been with the company for 8 years. How has your experience evolved over that time? Especially as the company has gone through the recent expansion you mentioned earlier. It is the same question, but you layered on some research you did and some context from the interview, and bing, bang, boom. It sounds so much more thoughtful. It makes you sound like a coworker, someone who gets them. So here's the step-by-step of how to do this even if you are nervous. Start with that document of questions I linked below and pick, let's say, 3 to 5 of them. As much as you can, when you are preparing for the interview, take elements from your research and previous interviews with that company, if you had any, and integrate that into the question. Some research you can do includes how long your interviewer has been at the company, their career path, recent company news, product launches, press releases, your own experience with the product or services, such as you've been reading their marketing emails, reading reviews, interacting with their support function, that kind of stuff. Now take your skeleton question and attach your research to it. For example, the question could be, what does success look like in this role? And you can change it to, I noticed your team recently launched the new initiative. For someone stepping into this role, what would success look like in contributing to that initiative in the first 90 days? But the best questions will come from you listening in the interview and taking notes. Most candidates are so focused on sounding smart, they forget to listen smart. Every interview gives you free material for better questions. So if the interviewer says, we're growing really fast, you could ask about scaling challenges or team alignment. If they say, we just went through a merger, ask how it's affected the culture or priorities. If they mention, we're focused on customer retention this quarter, ask what strategies are working best. Do you usually ask questions in a job interview? Say, yes, I ask questions, or no, I usually don't ask questions in the comments. I'm curious to hear which is more common. Part 2, Ask questions before you answer. Interviewers are notorious for asking vague questions, but I have a hack to counteract this and never ramble in a job interview again. Here's the fix. Ask a clarifying question before you answer. Let's say you're asked, how do you approach leadership? Excuse me, a what?
Say what?
You can tell the interviewer has something specific in mind, but the question is so broad that it is hard to know where to start. So you could say something like, leadership has played a big role in my career and I approach it thoughtfully. Are you asking about how I lead day to day, how I handle big picture strategy, how I coach team members? Like, what would you like me to focus on? Or when in doubt, just repeat the last few words that they say to clarify. Approach leadership? Getting this clarity means that you can answer in the right direction and feel more confident about your response and avoid rambling, especially if it turns out that they just want to confirm something simple. Like, oh, I just wanted to know if you've led cross-functional teams before. Strategy number 3, flip the question. You will lose job offers if you're not making the job interview into a conversation. And here's a really easy trick to it. For some of the questions you were asked, finish by asking a question, such as, let's say they ask, what tool do you think is best for managing these types of projects? And you answer, I like to use, answer. And now you can make it more of a conversation and ask, would that work at your company? Have you chosen a project software yet? Another example is that they ask, why should we hire you? And you answer, my understanding of the role is, then explain the role, and then explain how you feel you're qualified for that. And then ask, is that how you see me fitting in this role? Now, again, we are making this feel like an authentic conversation and learning so much more. And this question is tricky. So I will link a full video in the descriptions of how to craft your answer to why should we hire you. So this approach is insanely effective for 2 reasons. First, candidates who ask questions show that they are high value. They are critical thinkers and they are vetting the company. Second, you are given the chance to discuss and potentially even reframe your answers if they seem to disagree or misinterpret your answer. And you can address that right on the spot. And that can save you from a hasty rejection. You got this? Wi-Fi high five.